Well, it is no secret that money is considered a significant source of stress. So for this month's Men's Health, we want to ease the burden of financial literacy.
Yeah, to help us understand how to prepare for our future, owner of Sachs Financial, Jeff Sachs, joins us in studio. Thanks for being here today.
Glad to be here.
Good to see you.
So, Jeff, we want to talk about debt, obviously, savings and budgeting. But let's start with debt. And what are the first steps for people who are actually in debt? How do you get out of it?
That's a great question. The first thing I would say is write it down. The first way to start is to know what you're spending your money on, and you'll be surprised. It's like going to the doctor when they say it's time to lose weight, and they tell you the first thing to do is to write everything down. You'll think twice about grabbing that Snickers bar. Same thing is true if you have to write everything down, and you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't get that Starbucks. Maybe I shouldn't go to that thing.
Okay. Isn't that what the bank account is for? I mean, they do it all for you. You don't have to write it. You can just go and check.
I think it's better to write it down.
Yeah.
That way you're physically doing it as opposed to relying on looking back, because how many of us actually go back on a monthly basis and look at our receipts?
Sense of accountability.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. How big is honesty in all of this? Because I think a lot of times we lie to ourselves thinking, oh, I'm okay, I can get through this. Money's coming in here, money's going over there. But in reality, how true is it for you to be honest with yourself?
It's hard. You know, we find with our clients when we start talking about budgeting, it's the last thing that anybody wants to do. But that's really the first step of trying to get out of debt, is understanding where your money is going. I have clients that come in and they say, oh, I don't know, we make a good living. I'm not sure where it's going. And if you write it down and you're honest with yourself and you really look at it and say, okay, we are spending $1,000 a month going out to eat. We should probably eat at home a couple more nights a week.
So say you have just a ton of bills, right? And you don't know which ones to pay. You have medical bills, you have light bills. What are some of the bills that you need to pay, you know, immediately, like to keep the lights on, or that you could kind of put off?
Yeah, it's exactly that. If you have a bill that you need to stay warm, to keep the lights on, to keep gas in the tank, to keep groceries on the table, those are the bills that you have to pay first. The other things you can put off a little bit, like your medical bills, maybe even your credit card bills, because those things can, in the future, be negotiable.
But we're looking at three men in three different chapters of their life. I'm 60. He just turned 40. I won't say how old you are, but you kind of figured that out by the math that we're doing here. Where should we be in our lives right now when it comes to our financial health? Should I be worried about retirement, thinking along those lines, or just thinking, okay, I've got a pension, I've got Social Security?
40, I'm not thinking about retirement, but you know, obviously it's going to come one day.
You should.
Yeah.
I think that.
I mean, I am.
Right. I think so. It almost doesn't matter where you are in life. What really matters is, do you have the pension to save for retirement? Are you thinking about that? Because even in your 30s or your 40s, if you haven't started saving, if you're 40 years old, you put $500 a month in savings. By the time you're 65, if it's invested in the market and it gets an average return of, I don't know, 7%, that's $225,000 by the time you're ready to retire at 65. So it's not like you can't do it, right?
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah. So a little bit can go a long way because of compounding.
Let's talk about a base, right? So the budget. How do you stick to a budget? I mean, you say we want to save this amount of money. You write it all down, right? And then you go through the motions, and then an expenditure pops up that you're not expecting. How do you stick to the budget?
Right. If you think about what you spend, again, I was looking at some numbers. So if you go to Starbucks, right, the average Starbucks drink is $5.50. So you might spend between $10 and $20 a week if you go to Starbucks, right? Yeah. That's $1,000 a year that you could potentially not spend by brewing your coffee at home.
Don't look at it that way.
And then maybe budget to go to Starbucks once a month, right? Because you paid off that bill, right?
Plan it.
Yeah, plan it out. I mean, and we're talking about, like, if you don't have the pension for savings, if you aren't there and you don't have the mindset that you have divided up, one way to do it is to divide up your money, right? So you could say, there's a thing that went around social media for a little while called the envelope method, and that's where you assign dollars to different things. This is for the groceries, this is for gas, this is for travel, and once you fill up that envelope, you get to use that money. So it's a forced way for you to actually save dollars, right? Other people do it in bank accounts. There's credit unions that have the Christmas accounts, right? It's that kind of concept of knowing where your money is going. You have to get into that mindset of, I'm going to get out of debt. That's my #1 goal. Once you get comfortable with the idea that you can get out of debt, that you're going to be okay, that you do have enough money, cutting back on a few things and restructuring will give you that peace of mind so that maybe you can't spoil it on yourself, but you know that you're feeling better about it.
Get a cheaper card note.
Yeah.
Or just every once in a while, give yourself an allowance.
That's right.
Here's $20. Go out and have a good
That's what we
time.
do on Fridays.
Jeff, greatly appreciate your insight on this one. For more money-saving tips, we have our full interview with Jeff Sachs available right now on 5 Plus. Just search KSDK on your Roku, Apple, or Amazon TV.